Hello everybody, this is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. I hope everybody's doing well. We've had rain for the last 2 days, you can see here, although this is not really indicative of the total amount of rainfall because this is a little crooked and it hasn't been capturing all the rain. So you see here it's like 1.5 inches, it's a little bit more than that. But of course, as soon as I come out, the gang is acting up. Right? Somebody made a very astute comment that she noticed that over the last few weeks that these guineas have been acting up more when I'm recording. That they seem to be a little bit more distressed, and that's probably so. It seems to have happened after the daylight savings time that really screwed them up. Then the criminals have been entering their chicken coop. They've been entering the coop at night. I know because the rooster, one of the roosters will start crowing at like 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, they're very sensitive to their environment. They hunker down and go to sleep. And when these criminals are on the property, they react. I mean, these are males, so they're roosters. They want to protect their flock. So they start crowing at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever these morons are on the property. They may even be entering the coop. I know because I've seen some vandalism there. And also what these criminals did is one day this week, they entered my house. Now what they did several weeks ago, they have been messing with my Berkey water filter. They intentionally rusted a stainless steel cover on the inside. And yes, these criminals have military-grade rusting technology where they can intentionally rust a brand new item. So they rusted the interior cover of the Berkey, and then they tampered with the stainless steel spigot where the water exits. They unscrewed the screw on the top. They threw it to the ground, and when I found it, weeks later, because I replaced the spigot, they came into my house, opened the box of the old spigot, and stole the handle of that spigot. This is why they surveil you 24/7 to design your torture. So this is a shout out to my handler, whoever the fuck you are, bitch, because I know you're a woman. Get a life, loser. I know you're that woman with the black hair that followed me from New Jersey. You work for a security firm in Red Bank, New Jersey, and you couldn't wait to get to Kentucky by following me to my hotel room and stalking me and then radiating me because you signed into the room next door to me. And then I saw you in town in July of 2019 with your silly smirk and your Masonic emblems on your car. So I know who you are, okay? So, just saying for the record, folks. So this is what these criminals do, but I want to mention that I had a couple of suggestions, and thank you so much, Karen, for the suggestions. I will be reposting some videos of my ski mask stalker criminal neighbor and the neighborhood cartel crime family. I've got videos and audios and stuff. They're already on my channel, but I will be reposting them so that people can see them. And since I will be reporting them to the appropriate authorities. But also mention that several years ago, I believe it was in 2018, because I did find my Affidavit survey. Catherine Horton, who's very well known in the targeting community, she's a PhD. I believe she worked for CERN at one time. I don't know if it's astrophysics. I don't remember exactly what her background was. But she's a young woman, very intelligent, and she designed the most exceptional questionnaire for targeted people, documenting their symptoms. And I did complete it. It took approximately 3 hours over a couple of days to complete. It was so extensive. The only reason I didn't submit it was there was a body area network image that I just couldn't embed in the affidavit, so I never did send it. But I do have it, and yes, Karen, I think it's a great idea to mention what the symptoms are, because there are a lot of newcomers to my channel. They may be curious about what this electronic, psychotronic, radio frequency harassment feels like, and how it mimics other diseases and illnesses that you do not have. It also interacts with your Wi-Fi, your tablet, your phone, your computer, your laptop, and all of the electrical wires. Check this out, folks. This was supposed to be under the ground, but I'm going to show you what this county did when I moved here and I had electrical installed. They told me after the fact that I could have had it under the ground, but look at where it is, folks. I'm going to show you. You see that? That's right outside of my bedroom. That contraption right there. There was one over there that the former owner had. I had it disconnected and removed. And then we've got one up there, and then one at the top of the hill. Up there, I've got another smart meter up there. I had contacted the local energy company asking them to remove the smart meter. They said that they could not remove the smart meter because I would not have electricity. And I know that there are companies out there that if you request an analog, they might charge you a little bit more to have it installed because they have to physically come out to your property and get the readings. But it is possible for extra money, and they will have it removed. There needs to be an opt-out option for your Wi-Fi, for the smart meter. And I'll show you what my smart meter looks like, folks. Here it is. And I have, and you see what the criminals did to my Wi-Fi, my smart meter cover. This was brand new, and they damaged it. But this is what it looks like. It's a Faraday cage. It's a Faraday cage for the smart meter. It's supposed to, eliminate some of the harmful signals. But there was no opt-out option here for me to remove the smart meter and get an analog. And I found out, actually through Helena Chorba, my now deceased friend, who was heavily targeted. When I moved here, she performed some research and found that my local internet and energy company were part of a pilot program. They must have got paid a lot of money for it. And it was for the smart meters. But it left it up to the individual companies to have and install and include an opt-out program, an opt-out option in the contracts. But my Wi-Fi, internet, energy company never included that opt-out option. So they pretty much violated whatever agreement they had with this contract or pilot program. But of course, these pilot programs, once they distribute their funding, get the information they need, they don't follow up with people. So that's my little mini rant for now. I will be posting some additional information. You can see it's very wet here. It's cold. The temperatures are supposed to drop. It's not very comfortable. It's very uncomfortable, and I have so many leaves to rake. Oh, get this, folks. Okay, everybody knows the leaves fall in the fall. And when I lived in Manalapan, New Jersey, we had to rake our leaves and move them to the, I'm going to go into the cat building because these guys are just too noisy. We had to move them to the street. And we had to rake them into bags that the town supplied, for a little extra money. They were paper bags, so they were... There we go. That's much better. So they supplied these very tall paper bags, and I had to shovel all of my leaves in New Jersey into these paper bags. Now, if I lived in Freehold instead of Manalapan, they had a service in Freehold where a truck would come around with a huge hose like a vacuum cleaner. and they would suck up, vacuum up all the leaves that you would rake to the curb. But here in Jackson County, Kentucky, where I live in the middle of a national forest, in the middle of a forest, we have no method for getting rid of our leaves, which is why we are allowed to burn them and burn our trash. However, get this, folks, in the fall, every year, they give us a burn ban where we can't burn anything. So we have leaves and leaves and leaves piling up that are now soaking wet, and nobody can burn anything. We've got garbage piling up. We can't burn anything. It's just pure stupidity. And granted, there are people out there that they're not conscious of throwing their lit cigarettes out, which is why I've got a real problem with people working on my property who are smoking cigarettes, because a lot of times they'll just toss them. How do you have the audacity to toss a lit cigarette onto somebody's grass in the middle of a national forest with all these trees around? It makes no sense to me. People just have no couth, you know? It's pure stupidity, ignorance. And this is actually what happened in a couple of towns over. Somebody threw a lit cigarette and it caused a fire. And part of that county was like lit on fire. I don't know for sure exactly what happened. I didn't visit it. I just heard from a neighbor and on the news and stuff that that's what happened, that it ignited from a tossed cigarette. But here, there is no method for removing our leaves except to burn them. And then we've got a burn ban on the whole fall and winter, right? It's ridiculous. And then I read in our local newspaper that there was a severe car accident on one of the main roads here. Guess what, folks? You want to know what happened? The car slipped on wet leaves. So, there you go. That's one of the reasons why my property taxes were so high in Manalapan, New Jersey. I was paying $10,000 when I left New Jersey. When I moved there, I think I was paying around $3,200. And then after 30 years, it was $10,000, which I guess after 30 years, that's not that bad. But still, $10,000 a year for property taxes is quite high. But I will admit that we got a lot for that. If I called, not like here, if I called the town and said, I have a pothole in front of my house, can you fill it? Literally, somebody might even be there the same day. They'll definitely be there within the next few days, and definitely within a week. And that has happened before. So, I mean, there are pros and cons to paying property taxes. I mean, if your local government is actually performing the services, then it's worth it. But here, my property taxes are significantly lower, and I guess you get what you pay for. So, but that's the deal for now. I will be discussing these surveys, and I would like to know if anybody remembers these surveys, have completed them, are interested in completing them, and so far, I don't know what has happened to the surveys. Where were they submitted? Oh, and I also submitted 2 completed surveys to the ICATOR, ICATOR, the Rapporteur on Torture with Nils Metzger. I submitted 2 of those. I received no response from either one of them. I didn't even receive a response that they were received. So, I'm done with completing these surveys unless I do it for myself and keep it for myself, for the future. But if you can comment down below if any of you have completed these surveys, if you submitted it, and if you received any responses back. And if you submitted these surveys, let's say in 2018 and 19, has your targeting changed, and the symptoms that you're experiencing, has that changed? And has it improved or deteriorated? But anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. This is my Muffy Puffy right there. Let's see. I'm through the window here. That's Muffy Puffy. She has an affinity towards those little guinea hens. She thinks that she's the mother, which is really odd. She didn't want her own chickies. She was hilarious. When she would lay an egg, she would push it under another hen and make them hatch it. So yeah, there are other hens that have hatched their babies. So this is the cat building. Oh, while I'm here, let me show you some evidence. This is what the criminals did to the cat posts, folks. And for those of you who have cats, I only have 9 cats in here. This is what they did. No, this is not a cat. It looks like a bear, right? Look at what they did here. And this is fairly new. It's about 9 months old. I mean, people have these trees for years and years and they don't look like this. But the criminals start at the top and they cut. You can see they shave it. Look at how many pieces there are here. And then they did the same thing here. Look at this, folks. Look at this. And then over here, they did it. Look at this, folks. And then they drew, look at this. And it's dark in here. I don't have a light on it here. They did this. And let me show you, folks. Here, look, they drew the letter V. Vendetta. Right? That they were here. They had to show me they were here. This is vandalism. This is what they do to the cat's belongings. These are paid for with your donations. I get donations from people, and actually, the end of last year, you see this? These were donated. They were on our Chewy.com wish list. And after I put them together, look at what the criminals did here. Look. Look at this. Is this unbelievable what they did to their belongings here? I'm surprised they didn't cut off the little ball here. That's what they did in New Jersey. They cut off all the little hanging toys. Look. Is that unbelievable? Look at this. This is what they did to the cat's belongings. Oh, and let me show you some of the burn marks. Oh, and I just bought this for the cats. And look at what they did here. They came in here and they broke this. This was an L shape. You see that, folks? It was supposed to sit like this. And they cracked it right across here. Now let's show what else the criminals have done here. Let's see. Oh, here. They've tore out all the insulation around the windows. This is insulation that I installed. But they tore out all the insulation around every window in this building. And the door. You want to go out, sweetie? Want to go out for a little while? She likes to go out for a little while, but when it's cold and wet like this, she'll be out for 15 minutes and then she'll beg to come back in again. Oh, another thing they do is they play with the water fountain here. The water fountain has to stay open here, and they come in here and close it so no water drains through. They cut holes here. Let me show you. You see that, folks? They did this. This was a brand new building 3 years ago. Let's see if I can turn the light on so you can see some more stuff in here. Yeah, so this is what they do to knots, folks. And let's see what else they did here. I wasn't ready to come in here to show you this stuff, but here you go. And you see how rough the wood is there? They did that. They shaved that. It was smooth. It was very smooth. This building cost me over $20,000. It was around $22,000. It was brand new, mint condition. And they came in here and destroyed it. And let me show you. See, the guys have a mini split. they've got it made. Let's see. Let me show you what they did to the roof here. So they burned the knots here. Let's see if I can zoom in here. They burned the knots. You see that, folks? That's their Illuminati V. They cut a V in there. They cut a V in this knot too. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. That's what they do. It's the damage they do in here. And then they did this. Here, let me show you this. I'm going to have to climb up on here to show you. Let me show you what they did here. Look at that, folks. You see that? This is what the criminals did. Look at that. You see that? They did this. Brand new building, they did this too. Up there. You can see the hole up there. They're evil. Just evil. Here, look at this, folks. They burned that. Now let me see if I can extend this a little bit more. I'm sorry for the delay here. This is what they do with their energy weapons. I apologize for the quality. They did this too. So let me get down here. There's Rexy Poo doing his business. So anyway, folks, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to sign off for now and get this uploaded, and we'll get on to these questionnaires later. I want to read some of the symptoms to you. And if you want to comment down below, if it's too personal, you don't have to. But I just want everybody to be aware of what the symptoms are and that they mimic many other illnesses and diseases. This is Lorraine signing off for now.